When we talk about the dangers stemming from online relationships, we cannot help but shudder at the heartbreaking stories that occur in real life. In Seoul, South Korea, in the spring of 2021, a distress call opened the case of a shocking homicide that left the entire nation in disbelief. What began as seemingly innocent encounters through an online game turned into a horrendous tragedy for Jeong Da-Yeong and her family. This is not just a story about crime, it is a stark warning about the hidden dangers that can lurk behind online relationships. The incident took place in the capital of Seoul, South Korea, in the northeastern part of Seoul in Nowon district, which borders Gyeonggi province. This area is densely populated with numerous residential neighborhoods. The main subject of the story is Jeong Da-Yeong, born in 1996. Growing up without her father's affection, she was raised by her mother along with her younger sister in Nowon, Seoul. Her younger sister, now a university student, frequently commutes to school, while as the eldest, Jeong Da-Yeong contributes to part of the household expenses. She works at a veterinary hospital. With her attractive looks, lively personality, and open manner, she is well loved by both friends and colleagues. Like many other 25-year-old women, Jeong Da-Yeong led a normal life. She enjoyed shopping, dining out, and singing karaoke with friends. She also regularly shared the beautiful moments of her life on social media. In addition, Jeong Da-Yeong loved playing online games, especially League of Legends, a team game that requires tight coordination among players. In November 2020, while playing League of Legends, Jeong Da-Yeong met a male player with the nickname Shio Pipijuk, whose real name is Kim Tae-Hyun. Kim Tae-Hyun, born in Busan, is the same age as Jeong Da-Yeong. His family consists of 4 people, and as the eldest son, he grew up in an environment of frequent quarrels. At home, his parents often fought. Shortly after the birth of his second sibling, his mother divorced his father. Kim Tae-Hyun then moved with his relatives to Gangnam District in Seoul, the same Gangnam famous from PSY's hit song Gangnam Style. Located south of the Han River, Gangnam is a bustling commercial district filled with upscale stores, services, and nightlife. Due to his family's financial hardships, Kim Tae-Hyun was forced to live in an inexpensive basement room. He completed his high school education at a high school affiliated with a Korean university, but he did not pursue further higher education. Kim Tae-Hyun was also an avid online gamer. To make some extra money, he found a part-time job at a hair salon. At the age of 20, Kim Tae-Hyun began his mandatory military service, and a few years later he was discharged with the rank of Army Sergeant. Even after leaving the military, Kim Tae-Hyun struggled to secure stable employment. On one occasion, he managed to work at a restaurant for a day but soon quit, claiming the work was too strenuous. On most days, he spent his time at the hair salon playing games to pass the time. In November 2020, while playing League of Legends, Kim Tae-Hyun was randomly teamed with Jeong Da-Yeong. The duo played together in a match, coordinating very well, and soon became friends, chatting more frequently in the game. Over time, Kim Tae-Hyun developed unilateral romantic feelings for Jeong Da-Yeong. He began spending hours online waiting for her to log on. After learning that both of them lived in Seoul, they exchanged phone numbers and began chatting outside the game. 2 months after meeting, Kim Tae-Hyun arranged to meet Jeong Da-Yeong in person. The meeting spot was the hair salon they both frequented. The first meeting went quite well, and both of them were left with very good impressions of each other. However, in mid-January, when Kim Tae-Hyun invited Jeong Da-Yeong out again, she arrived not alone but accompanied by a male friend and a female friend. This made Kim Tae-Hyun feel extremely uncomfortable. Throughout the outing, he displayed a sullen, silent attitude, refusing to join in the conversations, which created a tense atmosphere. As the saying goes, if you don't mind, then the one who does mind is someone else. Jeong Da-Yeong, feeling embarrassed, tried several times to ease the gloomy mood, but nothing seemed to work. Tae-Hyun maintained his unpleasant attitude and even later got into an argument with the male friend accompanying her. It wasn't until others intervened that the situation de-escalated, but the meeting ended in bitterness. After returning home, Jeong Da-Yeong was enraged. She immediately texted Tae-Hyun, clearly stating that she would no longer contact him, and then proceeded to block him. Little did she know that encountering this man would become the greatest tragedy of her life. On March 25, 2021, a Thursday at 8 p.m., the No-One police station received a distress call from a friend of Jeong Da-Yeong. Her friends reported that they had not been able to contact her for several days. According to those friends, on March 23rd, Jeong Da-Yeong had agreed to go out with a group, yet she never showed up at the appointed time. This was odd because Jeong Da-Yeong was known for her reliability. She had never been late or canceled suddenly. Initially, they assumed she might have had an unexpected circumstance and did not worry too much. However, in the following days, repeated attempts to reach her failed, and her phone remained unreachable. Furthermore, she did not show up at the veterinary hospital where she worked. Worried about their friend's safety, her group of friends went together to the apartment complex in No-Won, where Jeong Da-Yeong lived. Upon arriving, they found her apartment securely locked and noticed several pieces of undelivered mail outside. The friends then inquired with the building manager and obtained the phone numbers of Jeong Da-Yeong's mother and younger sister. Strangely, neither number worked. At that moment, the friends recalled the last phone call with Jeong Da-Yeong. Right before the call ended, abruptly, she had startledly said, "Why are you here?" and then hung up. With this unsettling memory, the friends suddenly had a bad premonition and immediately called the police. After receiving the alert, the police used location tracking on the phones of Jeong Da-Yeong, her mother, and her sister, which revealed that all three were in the apartment. The police swiftly mobilized and arrived at her residence at 8:20 p.m. After forcibly entering the apartment, the scene that unfolded left everyone in shock. Jeong Da-Yeong, 25 years old, her 59-year-old mother, and her 22-year-old sister were found lifeless in different areas of the home. All three had suffered multiple stab wounds and had fatal injuries concentrated around the neck. In addition to these three victims, officers discovered a man lying in a pool of blood, holding a dagger. This man was still alive and was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. His identity was quickly confirmed. He was Tae-Hyun, the friend Jeong Da-Yeong had met online. After recovering, Tae-Hyun was questioned by the police, and he did not deny his role, instead confessing to the crimes. Investigators learned that Jeong Da-Yeong had once confided in her friends about her growing concern over how Tae-Hyun had learned her home address. It turned out that Tae-Hyun had pieced together clues from photos she had posted on social media. He noticed information on the package labels in the photos, and from that, he deduced her address. Once he had her address, Tae-Hyun repeatedly stalked Jeong Da-Yeong and even went to her home uninvited. His affection for her was entirely one-sided. Jeong Da-Yeong never intended to take their relationship further. When she blocked his contact, Tae-Hyun became enraged and planned his revenge. Before committing his crimes, he carried out several preliminary steps, such as searching online for phrases like, "the fastest way to kill someone." After the crime, he even used his phone to look up information about the Mapo Bridge. The Mapo Bridge spans the Han River in central Seoul and had, over the years, witnessed hundreds of foolish acts, earning it the nickname Bridge of Death. It is possible that Tae-Hyun intended to use the bridge in his plan. Jeong Da-Yeong's friend told the police that Tae-Hyun, also known by his in-game name, Heo Pijuk, had an unpleasant in-person meeting with her 2 months prior. After that encounter, she blocked him. However, from that point on, her once trusted in-game teammate, Heo Pijuk, turned into a menacing stalker in real life. Kim Tae-Hyun repeatedly called and texted her incessantly. He even purchased expensive gifts for her and repeatedly demanded to meet in order to reconcile, all of which Jeong Da-Yeong refused. Later on, Kim Tae-Hyun tried a new tactic. He used unknown phone numbers to call her and was frequently seen lingering around the veterinary hospital where she worked. Due to his relentless stalking, Jeong Da-Yeong was forced to change her commute route to avoid running into him. Then one day, while she was out singing karaoke with friends, her mother suddenly received a phone call saying that a stranger was at the door, claiming to be her daughter's boyfriend. Alarmed, Jeong Da-Yeong quickly instructed her mother not to open the door. Afterwards, she recounted the incident to her friends and expressed her anxiety over how Kim Tae-Hyun had possibly discovered her address. Not only did he stalk her all the way to her home, but he also appeared at the veterinary hospital where she worked in an apparent ambush. Fearing for her safety, Jeong Da-Yeong no longer dared to leave on her own and had to rely on her friends for transportation. The stalking by Kim Tae-Hyun turned her life upside down, forcing her to change her phone number. Little did she know the events of that fateful afternoon would soon lead to an unspeakable tragedy. At 5 p.m. on the day of the crime, Kim Tae-Hyun appeared at the apartment complex where Jeong Da-Yeong lived. He looked suspicious, dressed entirely in black and carrying a white backpack. Inside his backpack were a change of clothes, blue tape, leather gloves, and various other tools intended for the crime. He acted with remarkable familiarity around the area, having stalked Jeong Da-Yeong during her commute for some time. In his leisure hours, Kim Tae-Hyun was known to loiter around this neighborhood. On one occasion, a middle-aged man, feeling suspicious of his behavior, asked him why he was wandering around. Kim Tae-Hyun lied, claiming he was waiting for his girlfriend. Surveillance footage later showed that at 5:13 p.m., Kim Tae-Hyun entered a nearby hair salon frequented by Jeong Da-Yeong. He sat in a secluded spot and, without turning on a computer, remained there for only a few minutes before leaving. Notably, he paid in cash, suggesting that he was there solely to check if Jeong Da-Yeong was present. At 5:22 p.m., Kim Tae-Hyun was seen in a designated smoking area behind a building. He kept looking around as if searching for someone, and after a short while, without finding his target, he left the area. At 5:25 p.m., he entered a nearby convenience store and purchased a bottle of water, a pack of cigarettes, and a lighter, again paying in cash. While at the store, he stealthily stole a knife. At 5:40 p.m., Kim Tae-Hyun reappeared at the apartment complex where Jeong Da-Yeong lived. He entered the building by posing as a delivery person when he encountered a security guard. After passing the guard, he proceeded straight to Jeong Da-Yeong's apartment. At the door, he knocked and claimed to be delivering a package. From inside, a female voice called out, asking for the delivery to be left in the doorway. Kim Tae-Hyun placed the fake package on the ground and pretended to leave. In reality, he waited silently just outside the door. At that time, only Jeong Da-Yeong's younger sister was home. Noticing the arrival of a stranger, her sister hesitated to open the door and instead texted their mother and elder sister to check if anyone had ordered a delivery. Their mother replied that nothing had been ordered. Jeong Da-Yeong herself texted back that she had not ordered anything either. Before anyone could respond further, Jeong Da-Yeong's sister set her phone down and went to open the door. As soon as the door opened, while bending down to pick up the package, she was suddenly grabbed by Kim Tae-Hyun, who intercepted the door with his leg. Both froze in shock as they stared at one another. Only then did Kim Tae-Hyun realize that the girl before him was not Jeong Da-Yeong, but her younger sister. Terrified, she barely had time to react before Kim Tae-Hyun pushed her inside and slammed the door shut. Immediately, Kim Tae-Hyun pulled out the stolen knife from the convenience store and began repeatedly stabbing Jeong Da-Yeong's sister. The young woman collapsed on the spot. After murdering Jeong Da-Yeong's sister, Kim Tae-Hyun carried her body into the bedroom, laid it on the bed, and covered her completely. Instead of fleeing, he proceeded to ransack the apartment, searching for money and then hiding in a room. Earlier, Jeong Da-Yeong's sister had managed to text their mother about the delivery. Over the course of half an hour, with no response from her, their mother continued to text, growing more anxious. Later, a bizarre message reading, "Okay," was received. Occasionally, voices could be heard in the apartment's corridor. At 10:30 p.m., the sound of a door unlocking was heard. Jeong Da-Yeong's mother, unsuspecting, entered the apartment. There, Kim Tae-Hyun, the malicious assailant, had been waiting. He suddenly lunged from behind and attacked her. Over the span of more than an hour, Jeong Da-Yeong finished her shift and returned home. Upon entering, she was met with the horrifying sight of her mother, lying lifeless in a pool of blood. A bedroom door was left ajar. Inside, her sister shared the same tragic fate on the bed. Overwhelmed by the ghastly sight, Jeong Da-Yeong collapsed, clutching her mother's body and breaking down in anguished sobs. At that very moment, Kim Tae-Hyun emerged from the shadows. He dragged Jeong Da-Yeong to her feet and stabbed her with the knife. Unable to resist, she collapsed. After murdering all members of Jeong Da-Yeong's family, Kim Tae-Hyun did not attempt to escape. He tried to stab himself with the knife, but due to excessive blood loss, he fainted instead, although he did not die. After regaining consciousness out of thirst, he found beer and milk in the refrigerator and drank them. Subsequently, Kim Tae-Hyun repeatedly slashed himself with the knife. However, he deliberately angled the stabs away from vital organs so that he would remain alive. Later, he changed into the clean set of clothes he had prepared in his backpack, replacing the blood-stained outfit he was wearing. In a truly horrifying twist, after his failed suicide attempt, Kim Tae-Hyun spent 3 days lying next to Jeong Da-Yeong's corpse while using her phone. First, he deleted his own name from her friend list, and then he blocked several of her relatives. Over the course of the next 3 days, he eventually restored the phone to its factory settings. For those 3 days, he essentially coexisted with the 3 bodies, consuming all the food in the apartment, until the police eventually raided the scene and arrested him. Kim Tae-Hyun had carried out his savage acts against 3 unarmed women with ruthless brutality. When questioned by the police about his motive, he confessed that because Jeong Da-Yeong had ignored his affections, he had decided to kill. The police subsequently charged him with 5 counts, including murder, theft, and unlawful trespassing. A few days later, police conducted a search of the basement room where Kim Tae-Hyun lived. The room was in disarray, with damaged wardrobes and belongings scattered and trash strewn all over the floor. In a garbage bag, the police found his discarded identification and a job application. His family had moved out following his arrest. Kim Tae-Hyun's monstrous crimes triggered a wave of public outrage across South Korea. More than 250,000 people signed a petition on a Blue House, the executive office, demanding that the government release Kim Tae-Hyun's personal information and impose the strictest possible penalties. 2 weeks after the incident, Kim Tae-Hyun appeared before the media for the first time. When he was taken to prison, he mumbled, "Our National Defense Force has 1.5 million people. What are they looking at?" A reporter asked if he could remove his face mask. Without answering, Kim Tae-Hyun immediately pulled his mask down, a stark contradiction to his earlier statement. Throughout the entire process, he maintained a calm demeanor. When asked about his motive and the details of the case, he remained silent. A criminal psychology expert remarked that the most dangerous offenders are those who feel empowered after committing their crimes, so much so that even when facing the media, they see themselves as exceptional. Kim Tae-Hyun showed no remorse. His direct stare into the camera and the confident way he removed his mask indicated that he had long prepared himself to project a certain image in front of the media. Based on his behavior, it appears that he suffers from a typical antisocial personality disorder. His extreme, vengeful actions stemmed from his inability to accept rejection. Kim Tae-Hyun's use of the guise of a shipper, delivery person, to commit the crimes sent shockwaves through South Korea. The public was left confused, frightened, and forced to find ways to protect themselves. People increased their awareness about safeguarding personal information on packages and even began using tools to scrub personal details from mail. One day after Kim Tae-Hyun's arrest, the National Assembly of South Korea passed the Stalking Punishment Act. This law, which went into effect in September of that same year, targets individuals who stalk or monitor others, imposing a maximum sentence of 3 years in prison or a fine of 30 million won, approximately $23,076 at current exchange rates. Under the law, police are authorized to take measures such as prohibiting the offender from approaching the victim within 100 meters and banning contact via telephone or other communication devices. Investigations revealed that Jeong Da-Yeong was not the first victim harassed by Kim Tae-Hyun. Prior to her, he had stalked a male gamer with the nickname Lee Yoon-ho. In South Korea, age is highly respected, even if one is only 1 year younger. The junior is expected to address the elder as Hyung or Nuna. After becoming close with Lee Yoon-ho, Kim Tae-Hyun began to display overzealous concern. He took it upon himself to pay for everything for Lee Yoon-ho, even buying him a phone. Kim Tae-Hyun inserted himself so deeply into Lee Yoon-ho's life that he would pick him up after school every day. Feeling suffocated, Lee Yoon-ho tried to maintain distance from him by rejecting invitations. However, one day at the hair salon, Kim Tae-Hyun encountered Lee Yoon-ho. Overcome by anger, Kim Tae-Hyun dragged Lee Yoon-ho into a restroom and repeatedly struck him on the head with a roll of toilet paper, even threatening to kill him. Later, remorseful for his actions, Kim Tae-Hyun attempted to reconcile with Lee Yoon-ho by sending him photos of self-inflicted injuries, but Lee Yoon-ho blocked him. Not giving up, Kim Tae-Hyun managed to log into Lee Yoon-ho's social media account by impersonating him and sent abusive, insulting messages to his friends. Kim Tae-Hyun's extreme personality had been evident since childhood. As a child, he exhibited animal cruelty and was known for being a withdrawn, reclusive kid. A high school classmate recalled that he always spoke in a soft voice and kept to himself. Yet he would occasionally erupt in violent outbursts and scream so fiercely that everyone became frightened. Notably, even trivial matters could trigger his anger. In addition to his violent outbursts, Kim Tae-Hyun was also prone to sexually deviant behavior. After his military discharge, he was fined 2 million won, approximately $1,538 at current exchange rates, for trespassing into a women's restroom to secretly record video. A year later, he was again fined 2 million won for sending nude photos to a high school girl. Thus, within just 2 years, he had been involved in 2 separate sexual offense cases, and both times was subjected only to administrative fines. However, very few people around him knew he was a sexual offender. After Kim Tae-Hyun was arrested, police examined his phone and discovered that he frequently visited pornographic websites. Moreover, in 2015, when he was 18, Kim Tae-Hyun was fined 3 million won for publicly insulting someone. On June 1, 2021, the trial for Kim Tae-Hyun took place at the Central District Court in Seoul. The case attracted extraordinary attention from all of South Korean society. During the trial, Kim Tae-Hyun claimed that he had no intention of killing Jeong Da-Yeong's younger sister or mother, insisting that their deaths were accidental. However, Evidence provided by the victim's family clearly showed that after murdering the first victim, Kim Tae-Hyun used that victim's phone to send a text message to her mother, a fact that directly contradicted his testimony. The subsequent murders of the remaining victims clearly constituted intentional homicide. 4 months later, the Seoul Central District Court delivered its final verdict. The defendant, Kim Tae-Hyun, was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole on 5 charges. Kim Tae-Hyun then appealed, arguing that the sentence was too harsh. Half a year later, the Seoul High Court rejected his appeal, upholding the original sentence. The victims' families vehemently opposed the court's decision, insisting that Kim Tae-Hyun deserved a death sentence. Although South Korea still has the death penalty on the books, it has not been applied in practice for many years. Kim Tae-Hyun is a classic case of an individual with an antisocial personality disorder, sensitive, paranoid, and with severe difficulties in social interaction. When rejected, he saw the other person as an enemy and sought vengeance. Maintaining contact with someone like him poses enormous dangers, even to the extent of threatening one's life. Jeong Da-Yeong recognized the abnormal signs early on and took steps to cut off contact with Kim Tae-Hyun. Yet, despite her precautions, she could not foresee the brutal actions that would follow. Tragically, it was not only Jeong Da-Yeong who suffered. Her mother and younger sister, innocent victims, shared the same horrific fate. Although the murder case committed by Kim Tae-Hyun has now been closed, its lessons continue to resonate. It serves as a warning to all of us about the dangers of stalkers and the importance of safeguarding one's personal information. For the victims' families, the pain of losing their loved ones will never be fully healed, but they hope that strict justice will provide a fitting response to the heinous crimes committed. This case has also spurred changes in South Korean law, offering hope for a safer society. Life is a precious gift, and we must cherish it by remaining vigilant against hidden dangers. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story. Goodbye.